Hello, all. Thank you for joining us today. As you saw, this will be recorded. That way, if anybody was not able to attend either one, we'll have the recording out there. Or if you just want to review it because you love listening to us talk about this, you're more than welcome to. The first thing that I want to announce is that this guidebook, it's the candy that's hard. I told you the first time. Matt is distracting them. And Matt is taking you guys away
I
from
didn't
the
do that.
screen.
That did it itself.
This guidebook goes into effect July 1st, right?
Ignore me over here. Sorry.
This will go into effect July. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Carl, I'm sorry.
I will be using this.
I'm good now.
Some issues. Matt will be looking at the chat for us as well. Once I go through each section, I'm going to give highlights of the major important things that have changed. If you have any questions, we'll talk about those at the end of each section. One big thing that I want to point out to everybody here, Levon, sit next to me. Nobody likes me.
I don't think you want me to sit there.
I don't get it. This new guidebook has direct links throughout it. So if you guys have already looked at the new guidebook, you guys will see links where if you are a little curious and you want to go to that specific website, let's say you want to go into My Benefits. If you can't remember what the website is, you can click the link inside of the handbook itself. There are tons of different hyperlinks in there to help you guys out. Okay. As a reference, just so you guys know, we have used the state finalized handbook and the rulings from SUCS, which is the State University Civil Service System.
So that's what I'm saying.
Right. Oh my gosh. So, and then we have also utilized SERS. So with a lot of this handbook, that is what we reference, and then we changed any laws that have been up to date to reflect in this guidebook. As a disclaimer, I am not going through everything in this guidebook. Okay, so just because I don't talk about it today doesn't mean it's not in the guidebook. It is still your full responsibility to read it. Starting July 1st, within the first, 10 days? By July 10th, probably.
What?
The acknowledgement pages.
Sure.
Yeah, sounds good to me. July 10th, yeah, sure, why not? Sounds great. We will have to have everybody re-sign the acknowledgement sheet on this new employee guidebook. So please make sure that you read and understand. You guys have plenty of time. And then along with this, you guys should be able to get all the information that you need. Should be able to assist you in any questions that you might have. So we are going to start off with the first section. We've actually changed the title, which is just now equal opportunity and commitment to diversity. One of the big changes that we added was a gender identity policy. It is a pretty good chunk in there, which is nice and inclusive. We added different sections about transgender and bathrooms and within the job, things like that. So that has been added. That is thankful to the DEI committee for bringing that recommendation to us as well. You okay, Matt?
Mhm.
Oh, I keep forgetting there's a thing behind. Okay. Section 2 of the employee guidebook, we have condensed it. Before there was an employment classification, I think section we condensed into one. So now you have an employment section as section 2. The one big change that you guys should see is the annual certs that you guys complete every year, disclosing that you have no criminal history. Most of the newer hires probably don't know what I'm talking about. You certify every year saying that you have not had any kind of criminal convictions. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay. That, we're still doing that, but it's a different form. The form is actually a self-disclosure of criminal history instead of an actual certificate. We are following the CMS documents with that. If you do have a criminal conviction or a plea, guilty plea, you have to notify me within 5 days. So if you get convicted of crime or if you plead guilty to a crime, you have to let me know within 5 days. If you have a change in your driver's license status, you have to let us know. That means, I'm not talking about if if your driver's license expires and you do not go get a new one, we have to know this because you have the potential to drive our vehicles. Okay? Let us know if your license gets suspended, revoked. We need to know this. Performance evaluations, everybody's favorite. Performance evaluations, the forms will look a little bit different this coming year. You'll have access to look at those once we get them put onto the internet. All the different forms that we're talking about, they're going to be in the same place that you can find them currently. Okay, they're going to be on the internet under office forms, so you can find them all there. The big thing with the performance evaluations is that they're actually due 30 days prior to the conclusion of your.
I did nothing. My hands are far away from that.
I have never seen it like say, hey, you want to leave the meeting? Okay, that's weird. All right. I'm fine with that. So the performance evaluations, they will be due 30 days before the conclusion of a probationary period. So let's say that you're on a 12-month probationary period. When is it due? 11 months. Yes. Way to go. This is Sarah. She is our new hire. And that's Daniel. He is our new hire as well. So if you have a probationary period, I have started sending out calendar invites to yourself and to the supervisors to let you know, to kind of keep that in the back of your mind that these need to be accomplished. All right. So be on the lookout for those. If you see it come across, I'm not scheduling it for you. I'm just letting you know that it's due and you need to work with your supervisor. Supervisor needs to work with you in order to get it scheduled and get it turned in. If you are in a probationary period and you receive a performance evaluation within 90 days of the annual, okay, so if you have a performance evaluation in May, the annual performance reviews are what? July 1st, right? You are exempt from doing another performance evaluation. So it's 90-day window. That make sense? So that way you're not double dipping. Any questions on that area? Matt, did I miss anything?
No.
He's like, absolutely. No, sorry.
The new evals will be for this,
Yes.
the new, okay.
Yep. And so we will be doing training with supervisors to help them get familiarized with the document. And then, like I said, it will be available to staff prior, so you guys can kind of see what is being rated as well. Okay. You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay. Section 3. I feel like I'm a teacher now. Okay.
And go over the other two, the rest of the performance bullets. You get the evaluations due, but you didn't talk about sharing or improving.
Oh, I'm just trying to hit the major pieces. So what she's talking about, I'm just hitting like.
Oh,
because
I'm going
that's-
from your outline. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
no. But what she's talking about is, because this is more for supervisors, it's not for all staff. It's that anybody completing, so if Lavon is completing a performance evaluation, she will talk to the deputy director about that performance evaluation before it is handed out. So that's going to change from the supervisory side.
Notes that will happen.
Yep. All right, anything else?
Were you gonna talk about the performance improvement plan?
Not really, because I don't like to talk about bad stuff, but I will.
As a lot of thinking people do.
I
kind of need
love
to
to talk
know.
about the disciplinary.
Oh,
The disciplinary.
oh, okay, yeah, okay, I'm sorry, I just was
You're okay.
on my outline and so,
And it's been updated,
okay. All right.
but no, keep me on my toes. Okay,
I
so
will.
section 3, the employment classification and compensation area. One of the big things is that we have really honed in on the Fair Labor Standard Act and the success classifications. The success classification I should probably stop calling it that. I really should.
Just don't call it to them to their face and you're fine.
Okay, thank you, sir. That came from my boss and it's on recording. Okay. So when we're talking about the Fair Labor Standards Act, we're talking about overtime, we're talking about comp time. There's very few people within the agency that have access to get overtime and have the ability to earn comp time. When we are starting, Matt and I are starting to look at all of the job descriptions. And so it will explicitly say on job descriptions, whether your Fair Labor Standards Act is exempt or not exempt, and if you have a civil service title. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so any questions on that? Okay. Employee conduct is section 4. One of the big things that has been added is we've actually defined the employee conduct violation definitions. So if there is unsuccessful performance, insubordination, any kind of breach of confidentiality, they're actually defined out within the handbook. This will also be linked to the disciplinary actions.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It'll be linked to that as well. So that way you have a correspondence and you know where this information is coming from. The dress code. How many people are looking at themselves right now? Just kidding. We are business casual, no beachwear, no sweats, no Crocs, no fabulous flip-flops, no sweatshirts with big logos on them. We want to make sure that we represent ICCB, even if we aren't just in this building. You can wear jeans, but still make sure it's business perfect,
So
business
no
casual.
college sweatshirts or anything. That's a logo.
Right.
Okay.
Now, if you're going to the college, I would talk to the supervisor. I would not have a problem with this. If you're going to Lincoln Land and you have a Lincoln Land polo shirt on,
Go for it.
go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand.
But other than that, yeah, no.
How else are we gonna fit in our spy missions?
Exactly. You gotta make sure. We gotta make sure. The big thing is that if you are meeting with somebody outside of the agency, no jeans. Okay, we want to make sure that we are professional. Even if somebody else is not with outside of them. Because I went to a seminar yesterday and I was like, anyway, so. Make sure that you are business casual. If you are going to the governor's office or have the board meeting, Matt, do you want to stand up? Besides this jacket, he doesn't have his jacket on. She's like, oh. Make sure you dress business formal.
I don't have a tie.
Well, you should get one. I expect everyone to wear them. Do you have one at least?
Borrow some from Keith.
Okay.
I think they make little like scarves for females or something. Like little wraparound things.
Sorry.
I'm revising the handbook now. I'm revising the handbook. You gotta wear a tie even when they help. So please make sure that any and all situations, even with me, I'm in the basement, how many people actually see me? Still want to make sure that we're professional just in case, right?
Have they revised the dress shirts that are sleeveless for women or not? Or
Sleeveless, no.
Still can't do that? Okay, because I have nice dress shirts that are.
Now you can wear like a cardigan, like I saw somebody that, had on like a little short sleeve cardigan over it, and that's fine. Any other questions?
Remind the people that are online, they can type their questions or the chat pop up if they have questions.
Anybody have questions online? You can chat with us. You can go off mute. You can like.
Okay. They seem content.
All right, guys. All right, I see a thumbs up. Thank you. I appreciate it. Man, this group is a little bit.
Quiet.
I know, don't say that word.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be difficult, but
Yeah, you are.
I'm just trying to get tied together what we talked about, senior directors meeting, it's this. So, okay. So is it we are supposed to, as supervisors, just so everybody knows, we're supposed to sort of toe the line if people aren't, we are to tell them.
Absolutely, you're the
Not just-
supervisors, yep,
just So people know,
yep.
okay.
Yep. Now, like I said, this guidebook goes into effect July 1st. However, since we are saying it now, we're kind of expecting people to start, if you're already having this issue. However, come July 1st, we will start, making those announcements and supervisors will start to approach you guys, okay?
So Angela, stop wearing those spaghetti strap tops and flip flops.
I saw it.
Make sure you tell Alex the same thing.
Yeah, I will.
I saw his the other day. This was pretty in leopard print.
Well,
So any other questions about dress code? Like I
business, what'd you say for the board meeting? Business professional, does that mean skirts for women or dress pants allowed?
you can wear skirts.
Or
Pants.
business like suit with
Hey,
pants.
Yeah. This, I won't wear
appreciate that. I wanted the answer you gave me. I just wanted to confirm that that was the correct
it.
answer.
What, that I won't wear a dress?
No, that
Oh.
it's skirt or pants.
Oh, yes, it is skirt
With
or
a
pants.
jacket suit kind of situation.
Absolutely. Good question.
I would also just clarify that we've sort of renamed and put a formal name to the dress code, but it really hasn't changed from the current dress code. Although we do know that we've been pretty lax about it the last year or so. So, we are gonna sort of, now that we have the new guidebook out, gonna be a little more attentive to, enforcement when it comes to the dress code.
Don't be caught off guard. if somebody says something.
Oh, it shouldn't be. There's the supervisor.
That's what I meant.
Yeah,
that there's-
absolutely.
Said something too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what repercussions could occur if the individual's not dressing to,
Section 5.
well, outside of that?
Disciplinary.
Like if someone
So,
comes in and
yeah.
they've got something on.
You will be sent home.
Sent home, okay.
You will be sent home. Okay? If you are in an inappropriate attire, you will be sent home. You can go home, change, and then come back, but you will have to utilize your own time for having to go home. Any other questions?
I think I might have.
Absolutely, bring it.
Remote work, I'm still,
We'll get to remote work.
okay, what do you mean?
Dress code, we'll get to that. If I don't, stop.
I'm pretty sure it's the same. I just want to know, like I'm on a meeting with, I'm gonna be in a t-shirt. But if I'm with someone else,
We'll get to that. Okay, we'll get to that. Okay, any other questions? All right. I'm just gonna make this known. This has not changed. So nobody bite my head off. This has not changed. No space heaters. Just saying, it's always been in the guidebook. It's a fire hazard.
And I'm like, where did that come from?
Well,
It's a very cold building.
So no space heaters, no burning candles. They are a fire hazard, so.
You do those plug-in things though, right, in the wall? Those are
Like a plug-in,
like a scent thing.
scented
Oh,
plug-in.
yeah, I was,
They get warm, but
Right,
they
the
won't
wax,
cause a
the
fire.
wax, yes, the wax.
Scented oils.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Heating pads and or heated blankets on the chair, is that something that's acceptable?
I would think so, but that'd be more of a Bobby thing. I don't know if that's,
I've been fine with it because I literally have one on every single day.
I was gonna say, I don't think it is, but I know that's kind of like always a touchy thing with firefighters.
Yeah.
Right. That Amanda has one all the time.
She always had one. Yes.
Yeah, so that's why I'm like, that would be in Bobby.
Levon, since you brought it up, I would also just remind people, we did add some language to the guidebook about scents. So when it comes to candles and scents and stuff, just be courteous
Yeah.
of others around you. There are some people
Oh,
that have
yeah.
allergies and that kind of thing. So just use common courtesy.
There's a nice one on third floor, somebody, and it's very pleasant up on third floor. It's not.
At the right time.
Oh.
it smells like sewer. So.
Okay, oh, why didn't anybody come?
Almost like, was there?
It's been cleared up for like the last week.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So, we have also added an area about charity and fundraising activities within the building. If you are wanting to fundraise, within the building, talk to Mr. Barry over here. He will be the one to approve or deny it, and let you know going forward. Guidelines of social media have really been put out there. Make sure we, monitor. We don't want to be doing social media at our desks when there's confidential information around us. Secondary employment. This is a fun one. So secondary employment, we know that people right now have secondary employment. So secondary employment, you'll have to have a form that you give to your immediate supervisor and then the ethics officer. Who is the ethics officer?
Jeff.
Say it out loud, like.
Jeff Newell, I want to make sure I'm hearing it.
No. Just kidding.
He's compliance, isn't that ethics?
I don't know, but, yes, Jeff Newell. That's why I wanted to make sure we use this time that people know who the ethics officer is. If you currently have a secondary employment, come July 1st, you will have to fill out the form, give it to your supervisor, and then give it to the ethics officer. This is a one and done thing. This is not an annual thing that you have to do. If you obtain new employment, then you'll have to redo it. But other than that, this is a one and done. So if you currently hold a secondary position where you get a paycheck and you pay taxes, you will have to fill out a form.
Can I ask what the reasoning is that you?
Conflict of interest.
To make sure it's not a conflict.
We have to make sure that there's no conflict of interest. And that actually is reflective of the state of Illinois, the way they do it as well. We're just a little bit more lenient because they have like a 3-page form that you have to complete.
Yeah.
3 to 4 page.
And annually.
Yeah. So, yes, that is the reason for the conflict of interest.
So it's not connected
Hold
to
on a
travel.
second. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
What's the line of what's employment? Is taxes thing?
Pretty much.
Okay.
If-
I'd say like, cause I'm gonna literally selling record crates to the record store.
So if at any point in time, if you're curious, if you're like, I'm not really sure if this totes the line or not, just fill out a form. Just fill out a form.
Yes. Oh, and then, so it's not tied to whether or not you need to travel for work. I kind of thought that was part of the reasoning for having it. So that it doesn't conflict with your ability to travel for work, like secondary employment. Some
Okay.
things happen.
No, that's not why you fill out the
Oh,
form.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was.
But the policy lists what is considered a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
And if you have secondary employment that conflicts with your
Tra-
ICB job,
Right,
your,
which is
which includes your ability to travel, then that would be a conflict and that would be a problem.
That's where I was at. Thank you.
All right, so any questions about that? Okay. Section 5, disciplinary actions. These are pretty much kind of the same as they previously were. We just really outlined them out. We start with verbal counseling. What? I thought somebody said Bree, I'm sorry. We start with verbal counseling. We go into written warning and or
Going,
or a performance improvement plan. All right, this is something that we've added. The language was previously in the former guidebook, but now we have an actual statement and we have a performance goal. This performance improvement plan is to really help you and your supervisor get the expectations that you're all wanting to meet in the goals. Okay. After that, it would go into suspension and then termination. I really don't like to talk about discipline, but any questions? Okay. All right, section 7, hours of work. So you guys are aware that we have the potential in extreme cases for an alternative work schedule. If you are looking at needing to change your hours, it used to go to the executive director and now comes to me. Okay, the form already reflects that. If you look at the form, it says me instead of the executive director. Okay. We have added the Illinois Nursing Mother in the Workplace Act, which is great. What?
Nothing. It's just that I won't be using that.
We don't judge. We Matt, I'm guessing you're gonna put it on me to get the room ready.
Well, I was gonna make an announcement that we are accepting furniture donation from anyone who would like to donate a nice chair or a nice side table
Yeah.
for furnishing. We will accept your donation.
Yes, so we do,
Where's this gonna be?
it's.
Right outside your old office, Levon.
Third floor.
We're
Yeah.
gonna empty out that
That door.
that closet that was across from your office.
If you put a door up, you could. I think.
Has to be a locked door.
It's gotta be a locked door. Gotta be a locked door.
Nice.
The other people don't have a
I was working in a spot and had to go in the bathroom.
That is not sanitary.
So there's a closet across from where Levon, on the third floor over by where Michelle sits. It currently has got a bunch of file cabinets in it with old stuff that needs to be thrown out. We're gonna empty out that closet. And then here's where your furniture donations and table and stuff come in. Then we're gonna furnish it nicely so that it's a place somebody would actually want to
And actually relax.
use.
So. Levon, are you sure?
I said it's not enough to make me want to have another meeting.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Okay,
So we're gonna have a lock on.
We will get with Bobby and have the lock changed and stuff. Yes.
Yep.
For privacy.
Well, sure. I just didn't know if there was gonna be some sort of.
It's installation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can do that too.
Not planning on using the room anytime.
yes, so there will be, it's not gonna be like a massive like show, but kind of more discreet.
Right.
It's in use. But yes,
So can the room be used if there aren't any nursing?
no nap room.
Thank you.
I'm thinking yoga.
As a woman who's dealt with this before, thank you for that very specific. Thank you.
Your office is big enough, you can do yoga in your office.
So where is the?
No. That's your last question, you're done. Back on track. So for those select people that are able to get overtime, so more of our accounting, finance area, our office support staff and our IT staff, any kind of overtime approval has to go to your immediate supervisor and then to the deputy director for finance and then to the executive director. Right? If
Prior approval.
prior approval. If you do not obtain prior approval to receive overtime or comp time, mostly overtime, then it could result in discipline. Okay? Any questions?
Well, you get paid, right?
Well, no, you have to get paid.
If you didn't get approval, you
Yeah.
still have to get paid?
Yeah. That's legal. I can't not pay you for something that you did for the company. That's federal law.
Hey, that's.
Hence the reason for the discipline.
Yeah, I get it, yeah.
approved.
I'm like, well, then just don't pay people.
You can do that.
Yeah.
That's what they did where I worked.
All right.
Don't get any ideas, Angela.
Good thing she doesn't qualify.
Yeah.
She's like, all right. So, any questions on that section? Man, these online people, are you guys asleep on there?
Online folks, wake up.
Good job's done.
Stop multitasking.
That's what I'm getting ready to say, all right. So the next section we're talking about is remote work. So when you are working remote, maintain a professional appearance. Basically, when you're working from remote, we need to only be able to tell the difference if you're not in the office or at home by the wall behind you. Okay? Professional. Got it? Okay.
Does the same, okay, I'm not trying to be difficult, but same rule applies like business casual, business professional, business formal. So if you're remote, but it's with a board member or president, then it is a job.
Would you ever do that?
I do remote legislative meetings and I wear a suit, I wear a shirt and tie for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
why I was asking. So you would still follow the same.
Yeah.
I said shirt tie on the jump.
yeah.
Don't stand up.
Yeah,
Stand up.
Hey, guys, like, call the Zoom suit.
Yeah, I was just checking.
Call the Zoom suit.
Mackenzie, it depends on the audience.
I can't.
It depends on the audience.
Yeah, so you just follow the.
For what?
For the
Yes,
dress
you
code
just
for
follow the
working
dress code.
remotely. I'm just.
Yeah.
Reiterating that.
Yeah, you just follow the dress code.
Nathan, the answer to your question is no.
No.
What was this question?
If you have to have an ICCB background when working remotely. But please try to have a semi-professional, not super cluttered, messy, be reasonable. Use good judgment.
So, well, so for instance, sometimes when I'm remote, I have a bunch of deer heads behind me.
Oh.
So I make sure that I have a background, because, yeah, they're deer heads. So. Just kind of
I
a
just have
caution.
like.
Yeah, I don't. Okay.
I'm worried that there may be cats.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, my skinny cat is always there.
Lies.
My cat is skinny.
No.
My cat is very skinny. Okay, so we have also added a piece within the guidebook for anybody who is not in the Springfield location. So if your home base is not the Springfield base, if your base is Springfield, this doesn't necessarily apply to you. If you are outside of the Springfield office, if your building is shut down due to weather or whatever. State holiday, or if your building is shut down, you are automatically guaranteed a remote day. Yeah, absolutely. So you don't have to call your boss and be like, hey, do I have permission to work remote because the building shut down? Okay. I know there's some Chicago people on here. Is it? You guys understand? I got one thumbs up, I think.
Yes, understood.
Perfect, thank you. Okay. Also, make sure if you guys have a remote day, make sure if you are needed in the office that you are here. Operational needs always trump your remote days. Remote days are a privilege, okay? Not a guaranteed, it's just, so if operational needs are needed, then you forego your remote day to be in the office. I say that right, Matt?
You got it.
Okay.
And you cannot switch for another day, but if you have flexible remote days left, you could always use one of those. But if you have to come in the office on Monday and Monday was your remote day, you can't decide to take Tuesday as your remote day because Tuesday you were supposed to be in the office. You'll be in the office on Monday and Tuesday of that week. It just so happens. So.
It was Angela and I and Monday. So Angela came in and technically that's her remote day. And even though I come in every day, Monday's a remote day for me. If I choose it, we both came in and worked on the grant. And we knew we couldn't move anything around.
But you're always here on Monday.
I know, but that.
She's here every day.
Is.
It's a lot of people
Yes.
when I walk in the door.
Yeah.
You're like,
It was an all hands on deck. That's the kind of thing you're talking about.
absolutely. So always keep that in mind. Any questions about remote that I did not hit?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so what if you have,
No.
what if you get to the point where your boss is this is not happening, okay?
Well, I'm like,
I'm not having this experience, okay? But what if they're having you come in and it's and it's really doesn't feel legitimate? They just really want you in the office and they won't come out and say it, because I've heard of that.
because they just don't want you to work remote, like.
Yeah, they really want.
Like if Matt's like, I really don't like this remote policy, so
Yeah.
Brianna, I'm gonna make you.
But they don't come
every
out
day.
and say that. Do you have any recourse? Can they come and talk to you?
Oh, yeah, they can come
Okay.
talk to me anytime they want.
All right.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
But it's always been and continues to always be supervisor prerogative. So the supervisor doesn't have to justify that you're coming into the office.
Okay,
If the supervisor wants their employees to work in person for some reason, that's supervisor prerogative.
You can still come back.
okay. I just could see that scenario popping up. Yeah, and I just wanted to know, it has not happened with.
I like scenarios.
So. Believe me.
All right, any more questions about remote work? No? Okay. So the next one that we're gonna hit is the time off of work. We have separated out all of the different leaves and the time off work and the paid leaves, and we separate them out into time off work and then leaves of absence. So in section 9, we have upped the accrual rate for vacation days. Okay, so come July 1st, the accrual rate will change. For service years of 1 to 3 years, you'll start accruing at about 25 days per year. For services for 3 to 6 years, you'll accrue 26 days per year. For service from 6 to 10, 27, and anybody above 10, you do not change, you're still at 28. Now, hold on, I would like to say this matches the state university retirement system.
Civil service.
Civil service, gosh darn it.
Too many systems.
Okay, so this is a copy of the state university civil service system. We accrue a lot more than the state of Illinois.
Yeah, you do.
The state of Illinois accrues, for their 10 to 14 years, they accrue 17 days a year. Yes. So, because this is straight from their new handbook. This is straight from their new handbook. I was like, I'm gonna print this out. Well, yeah, I want, I have the reference, yeah. So we accrue a lot more than they do. Okay, so first off, I want to thank the executive staff for giving us extra. Thank you. Thank you. If anybody's on here, I appreciate it. Nobody else? All right, then fine. I'll take your days. And I also want to state that when we talk about, we do earn a lot, we accrue a lot of time. We accrue a lot of time, guys, okay? So everything that we're giving is exemplary. Okay, now what were you gonna ask?
No, it wasn't really what you thought I was gonna ask.
Oh, okay.
So once we reach, for those of us that have been here a long time, once we reach 28, that does not increase. It's not quite the same.
No, it's the 10 plus years has not changed.
No, I know that, but we
Sorry.
never will increase
No.
beyond 20.
Right.
That's what I was
Right.
trying to get to.
Right.
Okay, that's what I wanted
Yes.
to clarify.
So do we still max out at something on vacation time?
Are you talking about like the double the amount of what you earn?
No, in a year, like if you,
Oh, that's
not even in a year, like I'm accruing time and I believe on my report sheet that Leanne sends out, like you max out at 60 days, 60 hours, not hours.
Not hours.
60 days?
You're talking about the vacation cap?
Yes, the vacation cap. Is that still in?
It's double your vacation accrual, so it's still in place, but the cap will go up. For people less than 10 years, the cap will go up a little bit, because now you have, let's say you're 0 to 3 years, now you have 25 days, now your cap went to 50, so your cap will go up.
No, I'm in that same category because the previous word.
Right.
Not complaining.
Within.
Within.
So, any questions on that? Okay. One of the big changes, some of you guys, I don't know how many of you guys actually know about this, but we used to have the emergency sick leave that Brian could authorize 5 days of sick time if you were at a 0 and you used everything else up. That is going away, but being replaced. A lot of people didn't know that. So that is being replaced. If an employee has 1 year of service, you can be advanced 10 days of paid sick leave with the approval of the executive director, but you have to be at a zero balance. Okay? You will work
Of
towards.
everything.
With everything. You will
With
work
everything.
towards getting that back, but you have to work towards. So you'll be getting those advanced 10 days, but you will have to work for it back. Okay?
You're paying them back.
Yes.
You pay them back. As you earn sick time,
Yep.
that sick time comes
Yep,
out.
because you'll be in -10.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
it'll just keep accruing from the negatives. Yep.
So basically you have to exhaust your
Yeah.
vacation as well.
And
That's the way it is now.
floating,
Yep.
And, okay.
and personal and floating.
This is really intended for those catastrophic situations where you would not necessarily qualify for disability because we don't have short-term disability here, so it allows you to stay on payroll longer.
Oh, we don't have, sorry, we don't have.
We don't have short-term disability.
So this will give you that extra just in case, if you need it. Now, that has to go through the approval
Yeah.
with the executive director still. Now, if somebody exhausts that and they're still needing time, we still have the emergency bank that I will send out an email and say, hey, we're needing some time. So we can have people donate time as well.
So where I get confused in, then, which one of many things I get, but, where's this 30-day thing fit in?
That's the remote work. So if you can apply for 30 days of remote work if you have an extenuating circumstance that prevents you from coming into the office, but you're still able to perform the duties of your job. So, a good example of that would be if you're having surgery and while you're recovering, you can still work, you can work remotely for 30 days. One 30-day period in a year, it doesn't bank itself. You get the 30 days. If you only use 15 of them, you're done.
I get it.
30-day period in a year for extraordinary circumstances.
Or you can still use it if you need to take care of someone else that maybe has had surgery, correct?
I mean, it's got to be approved, but yes, that's been another situation where that's been approved for.
Situation
Yes.
For me at one.
Yes.
So, yeah.
But that wouldn't be then, you have surgery, and then you use that, and then you turn around, something happens to somebody else, and you come back in that same year for 30 more
You-
days.
you only get
can't
one.
do that.
No,
Correct.
you want-
One regardless. That's
One-
not what you were saying.
One 30-day period. So whenever it starts, it ends.
It is.
It's under the remote work section.
Okay, that's
This
my fault.
this is when the 30-day you're actually working, you're just doing it remote. This policy is when you're not working, you're using your accrued time.
Right. This is whenever
Thank
you
you.
need to actually leave. Okay? Any other questions? Okay. So so we're gonna start getting into some of these leaves and different time off. And you're gonna be like, really, where did that come from? It comes from the state. We modeled the state for a lot of this, so don't be like, that's weird. We now have a veterans hospital leave. That'll start July 1st, 4 days per year for an examination at a VA hospital for any service disabilities. You're not doing a very good job, sir. Oh,
It was a comment. It wasn't a question.
sorry. I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
You're forgiven, I suppose.
We have added the more of the Family Bereavement Leave Act. Basically, it is a little bit different from FMLA, but it follows the same standards. It gives you 2 weeks of unpaid leave for a death. Okay. We also have the Child Extended Bereavement Leave Act. That is 6 weeks of unpaid leave for death of a child by suicide or homicide. Any questions so far on that? I know it's sad.
So, like, that's not the same as funeral leave.
Correct.
Okay. Clarify. Thank you.
Rust. Okay. Now, we also have a firefighter training leave. This is why I said, don't be like, where'd you get firefighter from? Firefighter training leave, you get 200 paid hours of leave to participate in training to be certified as a firefighter. After that, you can get 80 hours max per year for any kind of advanced training within the firefighter. We have the volunteer emergency worker job protection. So basically, if you are a first responder, EMT, firefighter, you're able to respond to emergencies with job protection. Okay. We have election judge unpaid leave as well now, put in there. Any questions? You're really quiet online this time.
Just to clarify on these leave categories and the next ones coming up, the unpaid ones are basically for job protection purposes. Most people, you can use your accrued time and you'll also get paid. But if for some reason you were out of time, it protects your job.
Or if you just, for whatever reason, did not want to use your time, but you want to take the 2 weeks off for bereavement for, you know, a family member, close cover family member, then you can.
So like to serve as an election, get paid, do you have, like, that's not,
That's unpaid leave. Oh, okay.
you don't have to submit that form, like, that's, okay.
You don't have to, it's not like jury duty where you have to turn in your payment for being an election.
I think what she was
Yeah.
getting at is it's a secondary job.
Secondary job.
Like, okay.
No,
You have to do the form.
no,
No.
because it's no different than being jury duty or anything like that. You're not creating a company and working like more than,
Right.
So you can't take your vacation time if you're an
Yes.
election judge?
yes, you can.
You just said it.
She was asking if you have to fill out the secondary employment form.
Secondary employment.
The-
I know, but then if
You can.
you can't
The
use.
unpaid is you can use your.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can use,
okay.
yes, yes.
I thought you were saying no because it's a paid.
No, I would say
Got
unpaid,
it. Not
Unpaid.
Okay,
unpaid leave. It's job protection.
right. But you can't, yes, okay.
Yes.
Just-
Any other question? Okay. So the next section is employee benefits. This is where the links really come in handy for you guys. It'll take you to, you click on links for surge retirement. You already used your one question, sir.
I have a deep question.
Oh, I already asked and nobody said anything.
I didn't know we were gonna get to it.
Oh. I asked if anybody had any questions.
Do the personal and floating holidays still exist?
Yes, yes, they do. That's your second question. You want me to proceed?
I got it.
I know.
My real question is still locked and loaded and waiting.
You don't get anything, just.
I have vague questions. I'll say.
Yeah, what?
Big
Scenarios.
I like scenario questions.
Scenarios, vague
Just-
questions.
Oh, okay.
So the section 11, employee benefits and services, like I said, we're gonna, you have links for the surge retirement. We added, eligibility for participation details, types of plans, and details on the difference between the SERS in the state of Illinois, deferred comp plans. We have expanded the EAP program. Who knows what the EAP program is? I love it, Matt. I love it. I love it. Okay.
Assistance program?
That's what I call it. We have also added a section about, the benefits for reproductive healthcare benefits programs to assist with any kind of reproductive healthcare needs for an employee. We have defined the educational assistance, actually detailed it out in the guidebook. You'll see the lines of approval, and the approval for any kind of community colleges and where that goes. Because community colleges comes out of our budget. The university, public university systems, you can get educational assistance. That, the university has to send me a waiver for me to sign stating that you're 100% full. Yes.
Do you have to be, okay, let's say, I mean, I can't because I'm not, or I can start it no longer in that role, but, all right, so let's say you want to work on your PhD. Does it need to be in, like, I can't go out and have have ICCB paying for me to go out and get a PhD in interior design?
But here's where that line is differentiated, because ICCB will not pay for the universities. The university has their own system, so I'm gonna use UIS for an example. If you want to attend UIS to get your PhD, they have a waiver program.
Okay.
We do not fund that. They will just send a waiver form to me for me to verify if you are a full-time employee here and if you are within a classification. For community colleges, that's what we pay.
No, I understand that, but my question is specific. back to, so people that are working on their I'm.
So do PhDs, can you get those at community colleges?
No, that's not my
Then-
question.
Okay.
Okay, so my question is, if you're working on.
Yvonne, I can answer your question.
Yeah, okay.
I'll say I'm not.
The tuition waiver is a statutory requirement that requires the universities to waive tuition.
Okay,
There are no restrictions on what that is being
Yeah.
used for. That's a tuition waiver that employees who are part of civil service get as an employment benefit.
Okay.
If you are taking a community college course, on the other hand, and we're paying for it, we're going to ask you to justify how that's related to your position because we're spending money to.
the
But,
reason
yeah.
why I asked, because it does seem that everybody that is working on a PhD here is doing something related to what we do.
Right.
Yeah.
And I thought that had to be.
Unnecessary.
I was just asking for knowledge, that's all. Not because, yeah.
I think the language here says encourage to continue in a job-related
Yeah.
field, so they kind of gives the appearance that it
Yeah.
has to be.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Most of the time you'll find some people that are already going into that anyways.
Okay, thank you. I didn't mean to get sidetracked. I just wanted to try to understand that.
No, you're fine. Any other questions?
That's not subject to title of an individual either, only for the tuition waiver, correct? As in if someone is director or senior director and such.
The tuition waiver is if you're under civil service. So right now, senior directors and above are not in civil service.
That's why I said it. I can't if I wanted to.
Oh, yeah, that I wanted to clarify, because
Yeah.
I'm one of the oddballs.
The ability to apply for community college is not title specific, so anybody has that opportunity.
It's just that, that I understood. So, thank you.
So then, like, just quick, is this taking away the reimbursement for non-civil service? Cause I. Right. So like for a senior director, for example,
Mhm.
they could be eligible for reimbursement from ICCB.
For community college.
For community college.
Well, I mean, I thought they could for,
We've never paid public university tuition. We've only allowed community college.
But you can do that through the other system
If you're civil service, because we don't pay it.
if you're so. That's only confusing. If
Civil service employees are eligible for a tuition waiver as a benefit of being a civil service employee. That benefit is available for taking classes at any of the public institutions in the state of Illinois.
community college or university.
No,
No.
university only.
University.
Community colleges are not part of the civil service system. So
Right,
you can only go to a public university and have the public universities pay for it.
okay.
If
so
you're under
that's
civil
why
service.
it's, anybody senior director and above is not eligible because they're not civil. service.
Correct.
Correct.
The agency will support community colleges and professional development opportunities and workforce training that's available through community colleges that align with your position, and anybody can apply for those opportunities.
So what happens if you're working on your PhD and you get promoted to senior director?
Well, I will tell you, currently, we've had some people that have chosen not to apply or not to be promoted until they finish their education because
That's-
the benefit for their free tuition outweighed the increase in their salary or the promotion. So that's just a personal
Thank you.
decision the employee would have to make.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? Okay. You okay?
No, I was just clarifying.
Okay. Section 13, I'm skipping 12. It's just about ethics, with, Jeff. Section 13 is IC.
Just about.
Well, it's more,
Honesty
it's
and
more,
integrity.
well, it's not about that. It's more of a statement of economic interest. Anybody want to talk about that? I didn't think so. Section 13, ICCB resources. You guys all receive employment IDs. Please, 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 make sure if it expires, if you lose it, you let me know.
What are they good for?
Yes, it will expire.
They do expire. They're like 2 years, I think.
A year.
Well, then we're all expired.
So I did in mine and it was probably, what, like 5 months has to do.
Yeah.
So probably close to 3 to 4 years, honestly.
Maybe, yeah.
Gosh, I'll have to go in and look
Yeah.
at it.
So look at your IDs, let me know. If you guys need a new ID, I need your previous ID. I need a photo of you, a professional photo, and then I also need your driver's license number.
Oh, we got Jeff. Give her-
Well, we're starting to do yeah.
Yes, we also learned at the previous meeting that Ash will take your picture
Yeah.
for candy. So if you don't want to take your own picture, provide him provide him chocolate candy, I believe, and
Yeah, something else, he's got it.
he will take your picture.
He will, if you guys want to contact with him, he will be more than happy to set up time to.
Can I get a chocolate to use a picture I already had?
No, we're done, sorry. I bet he'll still take the chocolate though.
So I have a question about badges.
Yes.
When are we supposed to
To
wear them? Are we supposed to wear them?
Not here in the building,
Not here in the building.
but if you are going someplace else, like you went to the.
Only where they're required, and the only place you generally go where they're required is gonna be the Capitol or the Stratton Building or the
Right.
Capitol Complex. Or if you go to our Chicago office,
Okay.
you'll be required to have an ID. for
I
it.
also went to check into our, hotel, what's it called, that's,
Yeah, some hotels, if your state rate may also ask you to
Yeah.
verify.
they asked me for my state ID, and I was like,
That's probably all hotels. You know, you should always ask for state rate. Most hotels have a state rate.
Any other questions? So everybody's gonna check their ID, right? Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that.
What does the law do if she can't?
She tells me that, she tells me that she knows where it is, I just did that.
It's reported as lost and it's a 10-day waiting period to get a new one.
Okay, so here's the big one, and this is why I made Zia be here today, because I'm so nice.
Oh, I know.
I know. So we're gonna get into the travel. So the travel piece, we always want to make sure that we choose the most,
Trying to stir something up, sorry.
You got the trouble in here today.
oh no, like, this is,
You guys are tame, don't worry.
you guys are, yeah. Okay, so travel must be the most economical, travel, like the most economical route, guys. Employees are responsible for ensuring that the travel arrangements meet travel, regulations. Basically, it is all up to you guys to fill out your own travel information. Zia, would you like to take it from there?
Alrighty,
She's like, yes.
well, no, you did a little bit more of an explanation last time. that's
Oh,
all.
did I? I'm sorry.
So what is the major change that is occurring is that currently admins are set up as our coordinators and they have been completing travel vouchers. The only request that has been set up for an individual is to complete the worksheet. That is going away. Now individuals are expected to complete their own travel vouchers. Makes a little bit more sense. You're the one who's going on the travel, you know what's occurring. Difference is now you're gonna have to be learning a lot of new information that has been housed mostly within my department or with our admins. That does not mean that you're being thrown to the dogs and you're not gonna know what's going on. There are documentations that we will have included, we will have guides and videos, checklists, and we will do whatever we can to be able to provide information to people, make it easier. This will also hopefully speed up the process a little bit because you yourself are gonna be able to come back from your travel, fill it out, send it to the appropriate people that it needs to go to, and kind of get that rolling instead of waiting on an admin who probably has 20 people who just went to a conference and is trying to slowly get everybody, taken care of. So hopefully that will streamline it a little bit more.
I had two things.
Yes.
Travel, what was previously the travel coordinators, you will still submit your travel voucher, your signed travel voucher to them. You'll get your supervisor's signature, you'll sign it, you'll give it to your travel coordinator. They are now gonna have a checking rule, so they will check your travel voucher look it over. If it's correct, then they will usher it on to the executive director for signature and for payment. If it's incorrect, they're going to return it to you. They're going to say, this is what's wrong. You'll have to go back and complete a new one and fix it. This idea of employees completing their own travel voucher also, again, mirrors what other state agencies do. And we were in a unique position of not having employees do their travel vouchers. If you're at a code agency, pretty much they all require employees to do that. So we're not inventing something that's never been done before.
Actually, in the state agency, I work.
Yeah.
What's the benefit of being like the other code agencies? Because a lot of times they're a mess.
The benefit for you as an employee is you're not going to be relying on somebody else to get your travel stuff turned in. So you're going to have more control over how quickly your documents get turned in and your reimbursement gets processed. You will still have to wait if it's a federal fund for the federal dollars to be ordered. There's still some time it takes to get it vouchered and that kind of thing. But theoretically, you could cut a week or two, maybe even more off of your time it takes you to get your payment if you quickly get your stuff in and it's correct.
A little bit of visibility. Hope is that after it has been completely signed by Brian, by the time it makes it to my department, my staff are no longer doing a check. Yes, we have been doing a second check up until this point to make sure that it's good for the office. Because every time that they're rejected from IOC, it does become an extra workload for my staff. So if we're not doing the extra check and we're just processing, it's again going to make that just a little bit faster.
So after Brian signs it, you're not checking it again.
Nope. We are gonna, hopefully that the individual knows what they're doing, the admin knows what they're doing, so by the time it makes it to us, we are just processing as we should. And back to, Salon had a question while everybody was still trying to get on and rejoin. So you are still filling out a travel request form as usual, and we still recommend this in any other type of travel, even if you are doing something in town, like if you're going to Lincoln Land. Yeah, you may not have anything for reimbursement, but there's always that chance that you might get charged for parking or something random. And it's also a record that you have been approved to not be at the agency by your supervisor. So for record purposes, it's just handy to have. After the request, after the request form, again, you would just have your travel. You'd actually, let me back up. So request form, when you're filling those out, they will still go over to an admin. So if you are going for a hotel, if you need a plane ticket book, train ticket, stuff like that, that can still be put on there and admins can still assist. You can still do your own, but you just need to know, again, the travel rules to make sure that you're getting the state rate where applicable and such.
So, then to follow up on that, just to close the loop, thank you, that was helpful, because I thought that was changing too. Just, so I'm glad to hear that that's not, but, so is it, just for clarity, is it required that even if we're traveling in town, or is it a suggestion?
Suggestion.
Pardon?
Suggestion.
Okay, there's a big difference, and I don't want to be after like Angela and Alex, and then have Whitney after me, that I went out to Lincoln Land, I didn't do a form.
No, but if you had an expense that occurred and you paid for it and you didn't have a
Yes.
travel request for it,
Yes,
to
you
be
can't
denied.
give me first, I get it.
Yeah.
I do get it, because it's happened here, so.
Yes.
Travel request form is not required.
Travel request form is required when you are leaving the agency, but for some individuals doing travel within like Springfield, you're not gonna have mileage reimbursement or anything like that. That's kind of.
It's the understanding they have a request form.
That's why I was asking for clarity, because I've never done one for in-town traveling. So I wanted to make sure, was that a real change, or is it just,
Well, because there's.
we can do that, it's not a problem, I'll make sure we're all three doing that, but I need to know, that's really what you want us to do, then say, that's what we want you to do, then we'll do it. So, yes,
Yeah,
sorry.
I pushed people, even if they were going within downtown Springfield, to fill one out. For another reason, if you're walking to the Abraham Lincoln for an event and you get hit by a car, while you're crossing the street, or you get an accident on the way to Lincoln Land, if you have that travel request form in, it is official, you were on work business. I personally have faith in our agency that if you didn't have it in, that would be like they were working. But you could be very much in a situation where they say, We didn't have a travel request form. We're not responsible.
So now this also,
That's what I'm asking.
so we brought up the Springfield location. For Chicago, what we include as your region is the loop. Okay? So I would say, just fill it out. If it's internal, just fill it out. If you're going from, so like I went to a seminar yesterday, I did not fill out a form. Yes, I noticed that.
I brought that up to her.
Well,
Yeah. At least I'm calling myself out.
And also, it's so we know you're traveling, because I had times when someone came back and I was like, wait.
Right,
Yeah.
and then
Oh, I'm
just gives you
just down the window.
practice. So just fill it out. If you're traveling within your area, just fill it out.
That's
It gives
all
you
I want to
practice.
know.
Yep.
We will fill out for
Yep.
in-town travel.
I want to also add to what you just said, regardless of if you fill out a travel request form or not. The purpose of weekly news is so we know what people are. So you should be using weekly news to indicate
Oh, thank you.
that you're out of the office, whether you filled out a travel form or not. It should be on weekly news.
Hold on.
If anybody not know what weekly news is, besides you two? We'll get to that. Your orientation's not over with.
Okay.
I think that's a lot to have to do it. I had a meeting at DCFS for the commission. You want me to really fill out a travel request to walk a block? Not even a block. But you really want us, like, the ISB just jumping? That is a lot.
It is a lot, but it gives you good practice. And it really does help us with workman's comp
Practice.
situation. Yeah, so when you are going outside of town, it gives you familiarized with.
And when you come back.
We're already familiarized.
Tell Stephanie, no reimbursement.
Yeah.
We'll follow up. We'll have some follow-up communication.
Follow up, but
Yeah, really, tell us it's a requirement, or if it's a suggestion, we're kind of left hanging in the air.
I mean, it makes sense if you're going to a conference.
We will
Conference needs.
We will make sure the guidebook is clear and issue a follow-up email to all staff on this issue. We'll discuss it a little more and issue some follow-up.
any other questions?
And I assume there will be pretty in-depth travel trainings for everybody.
So we are going to be putting together an actual video for travel on how to start from the beginning to the end. It will be located on the intranet. We will send it out to everybody. There's to come in and do this again. We will get that sent out to everybody. There will be a checklist for you, so you can go in and double check that you've done everything correctly. We're gonna have the steps within the intranet, so when you go into that travel piece, it will say, step 1 is this. Like, this is the form you need for step 1, step 2. So we are gonna really make this a little bit easier.
They're also, just a note for whoever is revising all the stuff. There needs to be revisions to the forms, because there's certain
Yes.
places where you click and it will uncheck something
Right,
else.
exactly.
Or where you check it and you're like, oh, I didn't mean to check that one.
Can't
And you
uncheck it.
Uncheck it, yeah.
Nothing, I believe it.
It's, yeah,
I just think that's pretty funny that it's like that.
yeah, and then I
I guess I don't fill them out enough that I've noticed.
wonder why. It was like, I'm gonna. I know. All right. So I would like to also state that within the guidebook, it talks about travel reimbursement when it comes to your headquarters and your commuting location and where you're going. So if you are living in Chatham, south of Springfield, and you're going to Chicago, your commute time starts when you hit Springfield, right? Because you have to come here anyways. So don't try to get travel reimbursement from your house to Chicago. That make sense?
Want to also add, hold on real quick, Levon.
Okay.
Want to also add, these are not new policies.
No,
This is
right.
already existing travel control board rules. But to help employees out, we put some of the travel control board rules directly in the guidebook, particularly those areas where there's the most questions.
And there's a link.
So these are not new policies,
No.
but they've not been in the guidebook before.
But I do have a question. All right, so sometimes, like if you gotta get on the road super early, you have been able to request to have the car So we don't have to come into the office and you save like 20 to 30 minutes. So in that case, is that still allowable? And two, then where does your time start from?
From your headquarters,
Okay, yep,
from your headquarters.
even though I don't.
But the commuting time, you won't have to worry about it because you have an agency
Right.
vehicle, so you're already using,
Exactly,
yeah,
Okay,
you're already
okay.
using the agency.
I guess the bigger
car.
question was, we can still do the overnight.
So like if you would pass, so if you live in Chatham and you're going past here, then no, you can stop here and get it. I don't know, that's not my call.
No, you can still do the overnight. It's in the guidebook. As long as you request,
Going south, you're not gonna come.
as long,
I think if you're going south,
as long as you requested it that way on the form and it's been reserved for you, then yes.
Yeah,
So that's the big thing is because that is a newer policy for us to be able to take an agency vehicle home overnight. And you have to make sure that someone else is not utilizing the vehicle.
Right.
That late or something.
Right.
So these are limited requests.
so in that instance as well, to make it a lot easier, we will all have read-only access to the vehicle calendar.
okay,
So you will not have to contact Stephanie and say, hey, is this vehicle? And you like, is there an agency vehicle available for July 13th? And then she'll go, nope. And then that evening you fill out the form and then guess what? It's booked up at that point.
yeah, I understand, believe me, we understand.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you will still have to book it through Stephanie, but you'll be able to check it and see if at the time, if it's available or not, fill out your travel request form and turn it in. There is a chance that between the time, it's still gonna be first come, first served, so you might get it back from Stephanie and she says, oh, between the time you looked and the time I got a form, it's reserved. But the other thing is, there may be cases where, again, because we try to maximize the agency travel budget, where if you've reserved the vehicle and you're going to Decatur and somebody comes in and they're going to Chicago, we might ask you to switch and take your personal vehicle if that's an option for you, so that we can maximize the agency car, because your reimbursement to Decatur is going to be a lot cheaper than if we have to pay somebody to mileage to Chicago. So.
So when you said Stephanie book, that means once she gets the travel request. Okay, so is there any workaround, like we have called Stephanie and said, is the car available? And then we fill out the travel request?
No, that's what we're eliminating, so that
Just verifying.
Stephanie doesn't have to do double duty. You can look yourself.
Yeah, so the only thing that I would
Got it.
suggest is if you have your travel request up,
Take it to her.
fill everything out and then look to see if the vehicle, and then go, oh, there's one available. Hit yes, and then send it straight to Stephanie, like just. Okay,
And has anything changed on the use of the car that's reserved for executive staff, or is that still gonna pretty much stay? Okay. All right, so don't anticipate. Okay. All right. That's, I'm just
External
asking.
discussion.
Huh?
That's not a guidebook policy.
If
It's a what?
external discussion if need be, as in if there is a large amount of people.
Oh, got it.
Friends
Got
that will be between
Okay,
me, Matt, Brian, all.
that's fine. I was just asking. Okay, thank you.
all right, any other questions? Another piece, now we know that this can't always be the case, but if you are traveling within state, we would like to have the approval at least 1 week prior to the trip. Now, we understand things come up last minute, that's, that's excused, but at least 1 week prior. For anything that's out of state, submit for approval within 3 weeks prior to your travel.
Nathan, the agency vehicle calendar is going to be made read only, so you'll be able to just look on the calendar. It'll be be shared with the entire staff.
You're welcome, even though I didn't answer you. Any other questions? Yes.
One thing I'll raise from my time doing travel, and it's probably more of a travel guideline, like the guides we put out, like the rule book, but when you go to a conference, make sure you're providing all the information when you send it to staff.
No acronyms.
Well, no, I mean, like, people, I would get a the conference registration form. Or, that they wanted me to register and I'd go and it would want to know what their meal preferences were, what breakout sessions they wanted to be in. Even a simple form like what's your name, your title, your phone number, your email. I didn't know that off the top of my head. So it would take them 30 seconds to fill out. I had to go into the internet, I had to either do staff stuff and then I had to copy and paste everything. And so it's way, it's way more efficient to, at least know the answers to those questions. And a lot of the travel job was like, hey, you didn't tell me the information I needed.
The other thing that actually came up this week that's not necessarily guidebook related, but good to know. If you are going to a conference and and you want to pay for it through a purchase order or for the agency to be invoiced for your conference, there's been some confusion about what the purpose of a purchase order is. Purchase orders are only completed by the fiscal staff and they are the vehicle by which the purchase is made. If you want the state to pay for your travel, there is a form on the internet called purchase request or purchase requisition. You will fill out that purchase request form with all the details of what it is you're wanting to purchase, the conference you're going to, the address, the payment information. Have your supervisor sign that and turn that into fiscal. And then fiscal will proceed with making that purchase and issuing that purchase order. But there was some confusion about how to fill out a purchase order and having support staff complete purchase orders for conferences and stuff. You just need to submit a purchase requisition to fiscal and the purchase order will get taken care of.
Is that an addition to the original travel request?
Yeah, I'm told,
It's like
now I'm
requested
confused.
to go to WIO Summit next week. I included the registration information, all of the answered questions on the form,
Estimated budget.
estimated budget, all that sort of thing.
That would, correct.
On that PO form in addition, or does that information?
It's the requisition form, not a PO form. And you only need to do that if you want this, if the state if they accept like an invoice and the state is going to pay for it. That's the way that fiscal will be able to pay the state for your travel.
No, to do that, if we don't know whether they accept an invoice, how would we know?
You have to call them.
You'd have to call them and ask them, or it would say on their website if they accept an invoice. The information you're putting on the purchase, on the travel request form is because you want support staff to register for you for that conference, and they're going to need all that information to register you for that conference.
Form that you were talking about is if we would register ourselves.
That form that I'm talking about is if you want the state to pay for your conference that you're going to. If the conference registration fee is $300 and they'll accept a check from the state, an invoice, then you need to fill out that form so that fiscal can pay them. Many conferences will not accept the state invoice. You have to pay that on your personal credit card or whatever. In that case, we don't need a purchase request form because the state's not purchasing anything. You're getting. The other thing is just a reminder, you can always make your own conference reservations. You can always make your own hotel reservations. You can always do any of your own travel planning, travel reservations, any of your own travel stuff that you want to do. Support staff are there as a convenience and to assist and to help relieve the workload, but you are perfectly free to do your own stuff. And I would recommend, if you're going to a lengthy conference where there's going to be meals involved and a lot of details, it's usually easier if you just go on there and take the 5 minutes it takes to fill it out and register for the conference. By the time you give all that information to support staff, you probably would have already registered yourself for the conference. So, and then you just need to put on your travel request form, you're going to the conference, it's $800. And I think there's a box you check that says you're already registered and good to go.
And we have to do the requisition form.
Only if the state is paying for it.
We're the state, like the agency.
Right, but if you're getting reimbursed on a credit card, then no. This is if the state is paying the vendor directly.
Got it. That's what I mean. So
Yes, which
we've never really had to pay registrations ourselves. The agency has usually paid.
many conferences won't accept state payment.
I've never had to pay.
Depends on where you're going to and who's providing it.
Trying to be
The-
difficult now.
The state conferences that we offer, I mean, those they'll pay for. But if you're going to a third party organization, sometimes they won't accept good example, she's going to the Society of Human Resource Conference. Most likely, they're not gonna accept a state check. They're gonna make you pay by credit card ahead of time
Pay it.
out of your own pocket. There's some legislative conferences that I've been to that you had to pay out of your own pocket.
I understand that.
Get
Believe me,
reimbursed.
I do get it. I was just because even national travel I've done, I've never paid a registration. I've been here 25 years.
Then you're lucky.
Yeah.
That just means that somebody else is doing those requisitions, because I've been saying, like, I've traveled and I've never filled that out. We're just doing it wrong.
No, he's just saying that if the state is
I was
like,
asking, sorry,
if it's,
I was asking.
Yes, so anytime someone is requesting anything from the agency and they want our department to pretty much pay for it, a requisition is required.
Pay
And
for it
that's,
upfront,
upfront, yeah.
pay for it upfront,
Yes.
as opposed to reimbursement.
yes, I'm saying that as a blanket statement, because I've also had people ask about, like, if they want a whiteboard or something like that. That still needs to come through as a purchase requisition. So they need to identify the need, let us know, and there's literally a section on there that says go to fiscal department, which comes to me. It goes through approval, and then the purchase order is the next step. So what has been happening in practice thus far, especially with Lori in her position, is that when conferences occurred, the individual would let the admin know that a conference was occurring, and Lori would fill out a purchase order and then have fiscal approve it.
Right, okay.
It's not like that's completely wrong in the process, but we're trying to move back to having simpler requests. We may even need to modify if we want to add complications of that to the.
Yeah, we can modify it.
because we don't have that currently.
And I bring this up because the requisition form is a whole lot easier and less confusing to fill out than a purchase order. So it's easier for you to fill out the requisition form and to try to fill out a purchase order or ask support staff to try to fill out a purchase order. It's a lot less information that you're providing.
That's a very.
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
Lori was badgering your.
Yeah.
Lori was badgering your conferences into accepting state money. That's basically how that
Good
works.
for her.
It's like the WIO summit, there's a group of us going next week. Do we eat? And I know this has already been done, so should we each have done that requisition form? Or because there's 20 of us and there's gonna be, in theory, one check cut to them, is that something that the admin does?
The employee doesn't sign it, the supervisor signs it. So if you just put the names of all the people and you have the same supervisor and the supervisor signs it, that's gonna be fine.
Okay, so finally for future.
She's talking about the future.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say, YOA and stuff like that, we did prefer to get our full list and then just
Yeah.
like one purchase order.
Yeah.
versus one for every person.
I would prefer that as well, so that. So,
The other thing is when you do pay for a conference registration out of pocket and then what reimbursement, that's not actually done on the travel voucher. It's this whole other separate form.
Yeah,
So the travel voucher doesn't include your conference registration. When you pay out of pocket, there's just, it's like fill out three lines and.
It's a employee request
Expense reimbursement.
expense reimbursement form.
All this is gonna be in our.
Yeah, and we will, like I said, we're gonna have, videos, like we're gonna do training videos to send out to you guys. You guys can watch those, step by step. Sure. And at any point in time, you just, you can reach out to the admin, just be like, hey, this is my scenario.
Well, this makes a lot more sense why things were a mess.
I don't know that that's the right word, but they just took on.
a lot longer.
No, you didn't know, yeah, you didn't know.
So it's a process.
No.
So when we turn everything into Stephanie or Lori, and in a week or 2 weeks.
You're still going, wait a minute.
Like, so do you have everything? And they're like, yes, but then it's still another 6 weeks. And then when we reach out again, they're like, well, I don't know. So then we reach out to Zia and she's like, yeah, we just sent it. And we're like, it's been 6 weeks. We didn't know all of these other
Pieces of
steps.
puzzle.
We thought there was a 1, 2, in my head, I won't speak for everybody. I thought there was 2 steps. Stephanie, Zia, I don't know. And so again, it was just lack of information. So this helps.
Well, and, okay, so I'm gonna get revolutionary here and tell me to shut up. And I can't, okay, that's quite, oh, I didn't realize that.
It's a real question, not a fake one.
Okay, I could get right at.
And please feel free to say no. Is it too late to register for WIOA?
Don't ask me.
I heard,
Please
yes,
feel free to say no.
I heard that the WIOA summit is full.
It's totally
like full,
full.
like-
What about virtually though?
I don't, there's not
That
much.
person is full.
There's
I-
not much virtually.
Okay, I don't find virtual. I saw an email the other day that says that person registration is packed.
Yeah, okay. Cool.
And they'll have- Okay, so I have just a question, because I apologize, I've been here 25 years and I've seen travel where we got it like real fast and we got it 9 months. I mean, I'm not almost, forever. So here's my question, and no reflection on Zia's department or Stephanie on you or admin staff. I want to clarify that. But I do want to say, instead of having dedicated staff doing travel, we now have 50 people doing travel. So how does the cost effectiveness of that, with all of us now doing travel and the time, how does that help? Because now, instead of it being funneled down to like 2 people, you're gonna have 50 people sending in travel, or I am missing something.
Let me
big.
walk you through and help you with this. So,
Please help.
so the first step in the process, if you're traveling, I'm gonna go all the way back to the beginning.
I probably get that part. It's when it gets over to there that I.
The first step in the process, if you're traveling, is you'll fill out a travel request form. On that form, you'll list your travel needs. You can make the reservations and make those plans yourself, or you can provide the information so support staff can do it. You'll turn that into your travel coordinator. I will say, we're gonna have a conversation about travel coordinators once new staff, support staff get hired. And so just because you're in programs doesn't necessarily mean you'll submit your stuff to the new Lori. We're gonna try to more evenly divide it out so that it makes more sense to spread the workload. So turn in your travel request form to the support staff. They'll make any reservations you need. You're good to go. You'll go on your travel. You'll come back. Previously, you'd fill out a travel worksheet, which was all the information that would go on a travel voucher. That would go to the support staff and they would fill out a travel voucher. Let's say you're going to the WIOA conference. Levon, you're turning that in. Angela, you're turning that in. Let's say Chris is turning that in and Janelle's turning that in. So now your travel person has four
That's where the.
travel vouchers to complete. Instead of them doing 4 travel vouchers, 4 people are going to do it. You still have 4 travel vouchers, the same amount of vouchers. It's just you're not waiting for one person to do all 4. Each 4 individual people are doing it, then turning it in, and the process will then stay the same. It gets signed by the executive director. Then it goes to the fiscal staff. Many people do not know this, but travel vouchers have to be submitted to the comptroller for payment on paper. There's no electronic option. So about every 2 weeks or so, fiscal staff processes travel vouchers and delivers them to the comptroller's office for payment. The state payment cycle is much, much better than it used to be, Levon. I'm sure you can remember when it took about a year to get reimbursed for travel. It's on about a 30-day cycle at this point. If you're being paid out of federal funds, it can take a little bit longer because we don't actually have federal funds in our account. We request those, they give us the money, then we put them in our account and then we can pay the bill.
To be honest, they both end up usually leveling out at the same time. A lot of people think federal is so much faster, but to be honest, by the time everything gets processed, ordered and all that, it's about the same.
Well,
Does that help?
Yes, it does, because I was kind of missing a piece there. Like what happens when we're all turning it in, 20 people go to WIOA, 20 people, it still has to go.
Still the same number of travel vouchers, still the same process, but now instead of one person doing 20 people are doing 1.
Okay,
Checking a travel voucher, very different scenario. Seeing other things like because you're the one who went on. Sheets are still encouraged to fill out because they're helpful in your switches. Well, I mean, like in the future, Worksheets are not required, but they're still helpful to be able to fill out the travel voucher. And you can even include those in your documentation for the admin to look at so they can kind of see what's going on.
Nathan asked, so staff will be potentially calculating per diem and meal reimbursements, et cetera.
Yes.
The answer is yes. It's not as confusing as it may sound.
I'll automatically calculate.
And there are some resources that our friends at the public universities and such have already created. So there'll be a web link and there'll be some electronic calculators that you can use to help you with that.
It's not trying to cause an issue. I seriously was asking, where is the balance? Are we really going to see a reduction in the time it takes to get travel back? Isn't that the whole purpose of this?
That's the hope, yes.
Is somebody gonna kind of like do a spreadsheet on it to see?
Well, we do a spreadsheet on it now, so we'll see.
That I put in travel vouchers are to each of the individuals when it makes it to my department and eventually when it goes to the comptroller's office.
Right.
So we have pretty good tracking on how all of that goes down.
And can you still go onto the vendor site and check
Yes.
your travel? Do
Yes.
people know that?
I highly encourage.
I did
people,
that
and I
all
keep
the time.
actually Forgetting to bug Bree, we need to put this again in the
Yes.
newsletter.
Yes,
It wasn't
please.
a previous one, probably like a year ago,
Okay.
but the comptroller's
Yes.
website has a vendor section that you can literally put in your SSN.
And
And
find
then
out where you
put in your
travel.
name, you do not have to put in your full name, like, if I'm putting myself in, I can literally just put my last name Diaz and it will show up. You do the little authenticator and it will show you all payments that have been processed, all payments that are pending. If you click on those, they'll show you information of what my staff put in for the remittance, or
Yep.
the information to the voucher. There's a ton of info on there. And literally, when someone asks me where I'm going to the comptroller's website. I'm gonna check that out first.
Hello.
That was something I always do.
Yes, did we have an online question?
Kim,
Kim, do you have a question? Kim, I think you're not muted, maybe.
No, she said yes and no.
Oh, yes, you have a question?
I'm sorry.
And
Oh,
with Lavon's question about where's the saving, will this speed it up? A big part
Yeah.
of the time
Yes.
after
It's a
travel
great tool.
that travel admins had to spend was herding cats. Was chasing down your forms, was badgering people to give us their, receipts. And so in this way, like, it gets done as fast as you turn it in. And so the gaps that we usually saw, it wasn't because it took Stephanie or Lori or I 2 weeks to process your travel voucher after you traveled. It was because it took us 2 weeks to get your info and then 10 minutes to process the voucher.
Yeah, I understand.
So that's
that. I
what-
know there are people that hold on to.
That was
their
like the
and never go on.
unaccounted labor that was going into that. Didn't really know about.
that are forgetting signatures.
Yeah.
So supervisor to sign something is a little different than you as your employee going, hey, supervisor, I need this signed now.
Yeah.
They're probably gonna be a little bit more alert to it.
So when you send things over to the comptrollers like every couple of weeks, so those people that are not doing what they're supposed to do, you certainly don't hold travel of the people that got their stuff in on time
Oh, no, that's.
while you're chasing them down.
No, that's not my function. So my staff, we have daily meetings. I meet with them at 8:30 every single morning. We go through what they've got on their plate. And one of the big things is how much travel do you have currently? Or do I need to do an order for something? So then we can then add that in and we're like, let's do a travel day. I've had multiple people in the past have requested, hey, let's do a specific day on the week or something. And I'm like, I'm not gonna control that because if I say once every 2 weeks, I'm gonna do it on this specific Friday. But that following, when we aren't supposed to be submitting anything, we have a ton that comes through. That would be penalizing every other individual. So it's honestly something that's controlled by me saying, hey, we've got 10 vouchers, let's go ahead and get these out the door. They will spend the day, they have to print and make copies and make sure that their originals and copies of certain specific ones are placed there, packaged together and take over to comptroller's office. So because of how labor intensive it is, that is why we dedicate specific days for it, but we try to get as many as we can. There's even times that we are asking admins on that day, hey, do you have any that you think are coming through in the next couple hours? So we can add them to it and then send them out. So lots of communication,
Yeah, that helped a lot. Thank you.
of course.
anything else?
Is it me to ask a question? It's not travel.
So the next one, I just make this statement just for Matt's peace of mind.
I got you.
So section 15, it is the government and public affairs section. You can deep dive into that if you want. The one thing that I want to really hone in on is if for some reason you were contacted by a reporter, you should say ICCB policy is to refer all media inquiries to the chief of staff. You can reach them at 217-785-7411. I will transfer you now. Okay.
But you gotta know how to transfer, which is, I don't know how to do.
They're transferring to you.
I know, I'm just saying, there might be others here that don't know how to transfer.
Answer the phone after yourself, termination.
Termination of the team's calls. Yeah. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, no,
Your fake question?
perfect. What if you don't have the phone number?
Then you can say, give me 1 second, I will get you that one.
And it's in the,
And
it's
it's
in the
in the-
staff listing of the phone number list.
What if you only have your phone with you? Like, what if you're just outside?
Just tell them you'll call them back and send me an email and let me know so-and-so called and I'll take care of it.
Yes.
Someone call Rebecca.
Wait, how would they call you for walking around?
Oh, well, I thought this is like if media approaches you.
No, they're never, we're not that important.
Yeah, we're
Media's
not-
never gonna approach you.
We're not that like high class.
Occasionally, on a very, 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 very rare occasion, some staff member might get a phone call, particularly if it's like an issue that the reporter knows they're involved with, but it's very rare.
But just been here 25 years, I think I got called once.
And did you have the number?
And I mean, I only get called,
But I didn't.
I don't even get called once a month, so. I don't even get called on a monthly basis, so I don't even get called.
Oh.
I got one call in 25 years. She goes, oh, was that before phone?
You said I said before. She said we didn't have phones.
I said we didn't have the number.
Okay, so let's steer this back.
Age or no?
Okay, so the next section is IT policies. Not a whole lot has really changed. We have defined some of the IT resources, basically use the IT resources within the scope of your employment. Use caution when emails are coming through. Make sure that they are not spam, guys. Okay, I've been receiving a lot lately that come from Brian. Have you been getting those, Matt?
Yeah.
Yeah, like every day, like, hey, let's meet. Okay.
We know this isn't from Brian.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay,
He's
yeah.
not crazy.
Yeah, so please be cautious about that, especially since IT will send out, fake ones and try to catch you in a lie.
I got one the other day that had a court order summons attached to it. This is a court order summons, whatever, and
They would email that.
It
Yeah.
had something like Illinois dot, the email, because I looked at the email, I was like, I'm like,
That looks fishy, I'm gonna hit fish.
I didn't. At first I was like, I'm like, why am I getting a court summons? And then I was like, hold on. I know, I tried to open the attachment and it said it said, are you sure you want to open this? It's from an unsecure location. And I was like, oops.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I was like, okay, good.
Thank you.
It was a court summons. I was like,
Same one, but when you say click on the attachment,
So yes, please be careful when you guys get emails.
And IT is tricky.
IT is very tricky. Okay, so please be cautious. There is an AI policy that's been put into place. Basically, just be mindful of ethical considerations if you guys are using IT. Be ethical about it, note it, whatever else, but
Why would you be, I'm trying to understand, one, I don't want to use AI. And
there's AI features put onto
There's-
Microsoft programs.
I'm
Program release, I think they
You're
considered
already-
an AI.
I know I am,
And
but
it's
I wouldn't deliberately go out.
Yeah. like, cause even if you
That's what
go
you
in,
meant.
like, even if you go into like.
Yeah, I know.
Microsoft Edge.
Then all kinds.
No, like if you go into Microsoft Edge, it
Yeah.
will automatically pull up an AI section.
Oh, yeah, I've had that happen.
Yeah, and I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah, and
Spell check.
yeah, I know that. I understand that. What I meant is
So-
ethical use.
so,
Levon, the AI policy in the guidebook was written by Do It.
Yes.
Oh, that explains it, okay.
Well, but we skimmed it down.
And I will tell you, I was on a chief of staff phone call with all the state agencies last Friday, and Do It is in the process of writing a new, more detailed and specific AI policy that they're going to be rolling out to state agencies. So it's being very discussed right now.
She's like, I'm so.
They discussing that those password resets never work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can start on ground floor.
Yeah. All right, so the last thing that I just want to talk about is information security and confidentiality. Please make sure you guys are locking your computers when you leave your desk. Okay? Windows L, that's all you have, right at the same time, Windows L, and it'll lock your computer, okay? Okay, because I might just start playing a game of it, and if I see your computer open, I might just start emailing people from it.
Well, by the time, as slow as things have been lately, go ahead, because maybe you get an email out.
Right. He almost closed you guys out again. He almost closed you guys out again. So, that is it. Any other questions? Yeah,
And you add the new cat cafe as an alternate headquarters.
no. Can we want?
There's a new cat cafe, like a cat cafe where there's just cats.
That's kind of gross.
Out the window and they're kept.
So I would like to change my.
Go there and
headquarters
eat
to
them.
slots.
Just watch
There's a cat cafe.
the windows.
Okay, so any other questions?
Go home and watch my own.
Any other questions? No? Going once?
I'm on break for explaining.
We're going twice. Yeah.
How do you have tertiary?
Oh, you mean for us?
You have tertiary.
Gee, I can,
What's the process for that?
then we do one.
Second,
What page job?
yeah, but it doesn't state that.
It's considered a secondary employment, whether or not it's directly a third job or not. It's an employment outside of.
Not in primary.
There's somebody that works
Two
two jobs
jobs
outside.
I used to show you.
It could be passive income too.
Oh, that's true. So, any other questions? Going once. Going twice. Thank you very much for attending today. Have a wonderful day.
Goodbye, online people.
You may now close it out legitly, Matt. Make sure you lock out the meeting.